There's that button.
Okay, there we go.
This is you're just showing how smooth you are when things.
Versatility. I am versatile, you guys, you power hour people. Okay, we're gonna start all over again. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So prospecting 101. Today we're gonna talk about making those connections with people and creating opportunities to be able to serve at a higher level. Okay. So we talked about what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on the 4. So Gary does talk about, look, I need 4 streams of lead generation, right? To be able to hold up my business like a table. Now, you could create Sphere as your 1. And he coached me a few months ago and he says, no, Sphere's not you have to create 4 on top of your Sphere. So I'll give you a get out of jail free card and say you can use Sphere as your 1, especially when you're new, you're trying to get things going. So Sphere absolutely is one form of lead generation and systematizing that. And we'll take a look at that in a minute. But then what are your other 3 forms of lead generation? You should have multiple forms of lead generation to account for the fact that some of those wells are going to dry up sometimes. It's already happened to some of you guys. That's why you're here, right? So I'll make sure I keep an eye on the chat room too. Okay, awesome. There we go. Okay. And so focus on your 4. All right. What 4 forms of lead generation from all of this can you take away from, and what are you going to brainstorm afterwards so that you can focus on your 4 for 2021, because we're working on 2021 right now. Right? Real estate runs in 90-day cycles. What I do today dictates what I'm going to get paid in January and February. Newbies, if you haven't heard that yet, I'm working for 2021 already. Okay, we're going to create the action plan. We talked about that and how to make it work. The GPS and the 411. We're going to look at that at the end of the session today. Okay, put your floaties on. We're jumping in. Sphere of influence. Okay, 34 touch system. Okay, the DT-D2 schedule. All right, so it's been proven and it's a fact. And I know some of you guys have heard this before, but are you doing it? A real touch system. Okay, for you newbies, a touch system is multiple ways for you to be able to directly and indirectly touch your database. Indirectly, okay, so let's look at some of the ways that we can touch our database directly and indirectly. Now, the DT-D2 is do the database to. It comes from a class, from a MAPS class called Never Ending Referrals, which is a phenomenal class on systematizing who you call and text when. Imagine that if you set up your database where you were prompting yourself who to call when. How do you do that? Command, right? You set that up and for yourself in your CRM to be able to schedule yourself. And if you Google that DT-D2, there's an actual schedule. I'll actually include that with the material that I send to Ruth for this presentation. And I'll also include that DT-D2 schedule for you guys. And I'll have Ruth disseminate that however she wants to do that. Okay, so here's a sample of a touch system. Once a month video. Send them something the first week of the month, alternative buyer seller value. So that's what we're doing now. That's what my team's doing now is we send a video out the first week of the month. Now, back in the day when it wasn't super cool and easy to be able to do videos, it was a newsletter. That might be a newsletter for you where you sent something out the first week and then something out the third week. And here you see the third week of the month, we send out a market value report. Look, that's just called the ability to do that in Command and to use how Command can actually just do that for you. And we know what's really cool about Command is that works all across the nation. I don't think any other CRM does anything like that. They do market reports, but specifically and solely for the area that they're in. So Command is pretty cool because somebody could live in Seattle and you're sending them a market report for what's happening in Seattle or New York or Florida or California. That's called awesome. And you should be sending people that you know a monthly market report. Now, maybe you do it more than once a month. For us, it made sense to do a indirect touch the first week of the month and then an indirect touch the third week of the month. And so you could play with that, okay? 4 times a year, a direct phone call. Schedule it in Command. Do it, okay? Because here's the thing. This right here, okay? What is this? This is me texting. Okay. What is this? This is me emailing. Okay. Those are cool, awesome things to do. And for some of you who've taken Fierce Conversations course, the conversation is the relationship. The conversation is the relationship. Think about this. Any great conversation you have in your life, okay? You talk to that person or those people often, or you may not talk to them often, but when you do talk to them, man, the conversations are really good, right? Okay, bad relationships in your life. Think about it. You don't talk to them that often. Maybe it's not bad. It's just not a good, healthy relationship because you just don't talk that often. So the relationship's not really there. Some of the people in your database. Okay. And so then, or when you do talk to the people, when you talk to them, oh my gosh, the conversations are just, they're just wretched, right? You just can't wait to get out of those conversations. And so because the conversation is the relationship, the texting, the emailing, the thank you cards, all that stuff is fantastic, but only supplemented by the priority of the conversation. The conversation. I can't really emphasize how strongly how strongly that is and how important that is, because a happy birthday text with awesome emojis is still not going to be as good as going, David, how are you? Happy birthday. Energy's real. Energy's contagious. That feels a whole hell of a lot better than that awesome, cute little emoji text, which is good. Okay. Now, what are you going to say when you get there? Like, well, we're not going in. Remember, we're not going deep into all of these, but I'm spending a little bit more time here with sphere of influence because it's so important and it's the best source of business. Now, initially, it may not be the most giving source of business because it takes time for me to farm them. You're asking yourself, well, who should I farm or where should I set up a farm? How about you get your farm for your sphere under control and get that down and get it consistent, guys. I've personally coached top producers in the market center and around Austin, Texas, who are doing 3 deals a month, 5 deals a month, 6 deals a month, 7 deals a month, and they still don't have their database down. And every time we talk about it, it's, I know. So imagine if you were to get that right first and initially, and to set that into concrete and know that you're setting up all of these ways to be able to communicate with them indirectly, texts, cards, emails, and it's supplemented by the conversation, because I know the conversation is the relationship. And I say, I use the Ford model: family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Okay. More stuff from the Never Ending Referral class. Look, you don't look, I shouldn't even be saying this in front of Melanie and David, right? You don't ever even have to ask for a referral. Now, that blew my mind when I took the #1 agent in Las Vegas out to lunch. I know, I'm getting the finger already, okay? No, the index finger, okay? The index finger, okay? Okay. All right, so I take the #1 agent, individual agent, out to lunch one day in Las Vegas. He's part of my mastermind group, and I say, Ari, tell me. We go out to this nice lunch. It's this fancy lunch in Las Vegas, and I have a little piece of paper, and I take it out of the inside of my sport coat, and I got my pen and paper, and I'm going, okay, here we go. He's gonna give me the goal. Here we go. And he starts laughing at me, and he goes, Paul, put your pen down. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, I'm going to tell you something. He's like, and he used the Kellerism, right? He goes, look, Paul, honestly, all I do is touch them. He goes, that's all I do. He's like, I really don't have a fancy newsletter. I'm not that good social media wise. And at the time, social media it wasn't what it is now, but it was still there. Certainly it wasn't what it is now, but he goes, look, here's what I do. And then he goes into his sport jacket, pulls out a piece of paper, and he unfolds it. It's in 4s. And then there's lines drawn through some of the writing that's on the paper. And he goes, my assistant gives me this piece of paper on Monday, and it's my job to turn it into her on Friday. And I go, what happens if, and he goes, this is everybody who I have to call. And I go, what happens if they're not all checked off? He goes, then I get a penalty. And I don't remember what the penalty was, but it was something that incentivized her. So they made it fun. They made a little fun on both sides. And so when you're calling your database, look, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, you don't have, he goes, Paul, I don't ever ask for referrals. Okay, that's where I was going with that, is that he talked about family, he talked about occupation, he talked about recreation, he talked about their dreams. And what happens is that when the opportunity presented itself, because if you're calling people who like you and love you, because those are the people who should be in your sphere of influence, the people who like you and the people who love you. Okay. Because when you say, hey, Andrew, how are you doing? And blah, 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 blah. Andrew tells me what's going on with family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. At some point, Andrew goes, Paul, what's going on with you? Now, if Andrew doesn't say that, then maybe Andrew's not a like me, love me. Okay, so you got to think about that. But if you're asking people how people are, then in reciprocation, just in law of reciprocation, they say, what's up with you? And then you can explain that you've just joined Keller Williams, and that you can talk about, you were excited about this amazing course on talking to people who the instructor was just phenomenal and so amazing. And then you could talk about the community up in Leander that you just visited, or the closing that you just had, and sprinkle that real estate fairy dust on them to remind them, or to plant the seed with them that you're in the business, and you train people how to treat you. Is that it, David? Did I get it right? You train people how to treat you. Thank you, Bold. If you're not taking it, absolutely take it. You train people how to treat you. And so you're conditioning your sphere that when they think about real estate, they think about you. When they think about real estate, they think about you. And you can do that without begging them or without bugging them. And you're rooting the quality of the conversation for that relationship. And you never have to bug, you never have to beg, but you do have to stay in touch with people, and you do got to connect with them directly. Okay, happy Thanksgiving card. Happy Thanksgiving card. Somebody gave me that idea a few years back, and I loved it because it was the first holiday card of the season. So they get Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, whatever's going on. But I love that Happy Thanksgiving because nobody's getting a Happy Thanksgiving card. And it doesn't get lost in all the minutia of all the other cards. Now, that was just me. Do whatever you want, however you're going to create a multi-touch system. Now, I rewrote this from the program that was here a few years back before I got here. And Gary has actually, up until, admitting someone else, up until a few months ago when I had a one-on-one session with him, he said, Paul, it really needs to be a 40 touch system. Minimum 40 touches. That's what I've learned over the last few years, is that a 40 touch system is really going to be able to maximize your repeat and referral business, because you should be getting 10% of your sphere to do business with you. Okay, 10% of your sphere to do business with you. So if you got 100 people in your sphere, you should get 10 people to either do business or refer you business if your touch system's in place. Okay. Happy Thanksgiving card, happy birthday call. Okay. Quarterly direct mailer. That's what we did. We've even updated that a little bit. We're doing events now, but this was 4 times a year. You got your happy birthday call and your holiday card. You call 4 times a year, and you have indirect touch twice a month. Whatever yours is, curtail it to you on what works for you, as long as somewhere in there this is happening. That's the anchor of it all. Now, just a disclosure, there's some people in my sphere who I only call twice a year. More of those are vendors that I call them vendors, collaborators, like agents from Las Vegas or other cities where I've coached agents all over the country. And I'm for certain to stay in touch with those people because they can give me a referral. And we're not Elephant Breath, Wyoming. We're Austin, Texas, where people are moving to come from the chaos of the rest of the world. And that's only going to improve and increase. So staying in touch with people, say, well, I don't know that many people here. I know a lot of other people elsewhere, A, B, or C location. Awesome. Stay in touch with those people too, if for only to nurture the relationships because there's somebody you care about or there's somebody that you love. And if you don't care about them or love them, that's fine. Get them off the list. But You're creating a database for people that love you and like you, and you can reciprocate that too, and that you're intentional around so that you can nurture the highest and best level of efficiency to hit that 10%. Because all of these other lead generation models are all in route to inflate this one. Because am I getting my 10%? Some of you guys have been in business for a while and you actually don't know the answer to that. That's okay. We love you. We forgive you. Okay. Let's talk about it. Okay. And for some of you who haven't been in the business a while, you're figuring that out with your coach, or you're on route to, you're going to figure that out and realize that I'm going to set this up, and relatively quickly, I'm going to run out of people before it starts becoming, I'm going to need a restraining order and be held liable for harassment, because you can't keep contacting these people, right? There's only so much contact you can have with these people. And then you're going to have to go outside of that sphere, and you're not going to be able to wait for it, which is why, look, business by referral only when you're new to the business doesn't work. It's not going to work, guys. Unless you have an amazing database, which I've just a handful of people I've seen come in to the Northwest Market Center have over the last 4 years. But pretty typically, your people's database are usually around 150 people. For a lot of you guys, it's less. And so when you're coming into the industry, you set this up. Hopefully, you should, and it's going to take a while to farm that. So you may not get that 10% your first year. You may get close though, and I promise you that if you're consistent. And one of the things that we added on there was 5 by 5 by 5. I'm going to update this again. Is 3 times a week, our agents are required to spend 30 minutes on Facebook for 5 comments, 5 direct messages, and direct likes, comments, direct messages. So 5 likes, 5 comments, 5 direct messages. And they're scheduled. They actually block their calendars to do that 3 times a week on top of other social media networking. So that could be something else that you add in there for your sphere. Okay. That's really the most important part. There's going to be lots of other things that we talk about here, but I want to make sure, because I know we're always talking about our sphere of influence, and how much of it are you really doing? Because the consistency with that ultimately is going to dictate, are you getting your fair share? And your fair share is 10%. Some people can do better. Okay. Some people can do 12% or 14%, but look, you're not going to get 20% of your database to do business with you year end over year. People just don't move that often. Okay. So 10% is what you're looking for. Okay. Comments, questions, concerns? Open floor for database, prospecting your database, working your database, delusions. Things that you hate that I said? No? You good? You good? Okay. We're moving on. And we're good. No? What's going on? Somebody's doing something to their screen. Okay. All righty.
Paul, real quick, I have a quick question.
Hey, Jen.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So if we have a database that, is kind of, we've been out of touch with, how do you feel about a first initial call that is just to touch base, just to check in, see how they're doing? That's not necessarily real estate, just to reestablish the relationship. Yeah.
So Cardone talks about that when people, who you haven't talked to in a while, if you're new to the business, you may not feel comfortable taking that route initially anyways. And that's just called activation. You're just letting people, you're just reconnecting with people. And that's a reactivation call. So the reactivation call, Jen, is you just touching base and not making it about real estate at all, because I'm reestablishing that connection. And right. That's the purpose of the call. The purpose of the call is to go, hey, Jen, how are you doing? Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I haven't talked to you in so long. I apologize.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then what do you say?
Oh, don't worry about it. I know we get busy, and yeah.
Yeah. Because newsflash, they didn't call you.
Right.
So
right.
They're busy like you, and life gets busy too. So when you heavy apology a contact that you haven't talked to in a year or two or more, guess what? Heavy apology leads to a submission where they come into alignment with forgiveness. And they go, Jen, don't even worry about it. No problem. Now they're like me, love me's, right? If they're like Jen who, then maybe they weren't really in your sphere.
Right.
Okay. But if they know who you are and you enter with that heavy apology and you wait a second, right? Because I don't know if you guys heard, I go, hey, Jen, it's Paul Campanaro. Hey, I was calling people I hadn't talked to in so long. And hey, I just want to say, I'm so sorry. I have not talked to you in so long.
Right.
And then I stop and I let her respond because she's going to go, don't worry about it. No problem. Bang. We're right back in sync. Okay. Then I could go through family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, and it's not a big deal. And I don't have to ask for a referral. And probably I shouldn't be asking for a referral because I'm back into alignment with earning trust.
Right. Yeah. That's a big thing right there.
Yeah. Earning the right? You come with your hand out like, hey, what can I get?
Right.
Right. This has to, how am I nurturing the relationship? When you nurture the relationships and you nurture the fact of understanding people, right? Because if you want to serve them, you have to understand them. But the only way to understand them is to ask good questions, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. That's the more casual forum. But it happens too when you're talking to buyers or sellers, like, you know, some surface level stuff, but you really haven't gone deeper on their situation or their motivation. Mm-hmm. And so the relationship is relatively surface level. And what do you think that does for the quality of your leadership or your ability to maintain or leverage trust?
Right.
Right. I know, Jen, you've come to Power Hour plenty of times. These are all like super important things. I know you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah.
Polly, I loved how you used to say about to get over that fear of actually calling people that you haven't talked to in a long time, is that they haven't called you either. So so just make the call versus letting it keep it where, just make the call.
Yep, just make the call. Don't look, if they're on the list and they're going to know who you are when you call them, and they're like me, love me, they're love me. I see them on the street, we hug, how are you, what's going on, how's your kids, we love each other. You see them on the street, you like each other, you're not sure their kids' names, but for sure we recognize each other, and we elbow bump now, right? We don't shake hands anymore, right? So we elbow bump or we give a salute or something, and for sure we recognize each other. And so if they're like me, love me, then don't pre-qualify the call. Just pick up the phone, give an apology, let them respond, and then restart the relationship. Cool. All right, let's move on. Lots to cover. Okay, open houses, obviously. You guys know lots about, okay. That's the mouse has gone crazy there. Okay, so open houses obviously are a great way to prospect. The only thing I'd say about open houses is make sure you're being efficient with having lots of signs. Now, I say minimum 15 signs, and I could already hear some of the drunk monkeys on the other side of the call here. But look, if you got 1 or 2 signs, you're just doing yourself a disservice. So have a bunch of signs. There's a company out there, there's services out there that'll put up 30 signs for you for like $50 or something like that. There's leverage out there for you to be able to put up more signs. Take advantage of it, and be obviously careful of if areas have restrictions to putting up signs. Love when that happens, Bo. Okay, so make sure also with the quality of your conversation, I think this is something undervalued in regards to the strategy of the conversation when people are attending the open house. What's your real strategy when they're approaching upon the greeting? How do you engage them throughout when they're maneuvering around the house? What's your strategy when you're able to re-engage at the close before they go, to be able to create a value opportunity? Right? To be able to set an appointment. Brand new agent in the business 2 or 3 days ago on my team. Had 2 open houses before he joined my team. Nothing. No leads, just nothing happened from either of those open houses. Open houses past weekend, 3 appointments set. Why? because the dude was just intentional about the strategy that we have to be able to be intentional about the greeting, because a lot of you guys are asking fluffy questions at the open house. Oh, how did you find us? Do you like the cabinets? Oh, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And that's awesome. But look, we know what we want. We want an appointment. I hope you want an appointment. Okay. We're looking to be able to connect with people. So your ability to balance fluffy questions at an open house with power questions, like, so were you looking at this property as a primary home, or are you looking to invest? So were you looking to purchase in the next 30 days, or would it be okay to go longer than that? Were cash or finance? Is there any other decision makers involved? No, that's an art to be able to blend those fluffy questions with those power questions, and to be able to do that throughout that little micro relationship that you have, where you have maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes from the moment that they enter the door to the moment they exit the door. And so your ability to blend comfortably and casually questions that matter, along with questions that are fluffier and more circumstantial, like about the house, that's an art. And how well do you do that? Some of you guys do that really well because you've been around and you're just super comfortable at open houses. Some of you guys are running around with commission breath and your tongue hanging out, like begging people for their email. I get it. Like, your intention's in the right place, but you're repelling people versus attracting people, and your intention to be able to be more strategic about that relationship right off the bat to help them feel warm. Because for them, guys, it's weird. Right off the bat, it's weird. They've already been to other open house with agents who have commission breath, who are begging for their social security number. That's already happened. Okay. And then you're trying to come in and go, hey, sign in here and give me your email and tell me if you're working with an agent. And I get it. All those things are good. Okay. All those things are good, but your blend of being able to be more savvy about the whole thing, that's really, really important at an open house. And it's your show, and you can control it. So lots of goodness on opportunity around open house. Okay, so I keep touching that. Just listed door knocking, just listed calls. So a property that you have that was just listed, expired listing, expired knocking. Okay, there's a lot of people, you guys hear about expired listings, and like, I get it. There's not a lot of expireds out there nowadays. And just FYI, I came from a competitor in Las Vegas who was the big dog and had a majority of the market share. And just like KW there, they had a reputation for agents who were making phone calls. And look, I get it. Because you're the big dog, you just have more agents out there hustling. And just, by the way, agents out there helping. Nothing feels better. It happened today. Today, I had an expired closing coming back into the markets, into the industry. And I picked her up as soon as I came back. I started making a few calls. And she said, Paul, this is a true story. She said, I didn't want to talk to any Keller Williams agents. And when you called me, I'd already talked to a lot of Keller Williams agents. And she goes, I don't know. And this is how you know you're focused on the relationship. This is how you know when you're taking your communication skills to the next level, because I've heard it time and time and time and time again. She goes, I don't know what it was, but I just kept talking to you. I know what it was. Me practicing my butt off for years and coaching and training to be committed to the conversation so that we can put down this BS of prospect, expired, and agent. Expired agent to prospect, and we can talk to each other like human beings. And she said, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. And man, it felt better than the commission check, honestly. And it was a nice commission check, but it felt better than that. And isn't that why we do this? I mean, we say we want to help people and the money feels good, but we all know it, because a lot of you guys, especially who've been around even just a little bit, that authentic gratification, that fulfillment you get when someone's like, thank you. And it was a big deal. You didn't sell them some Sensi oil or whatever. You helped them with the most important thing in their life, their home. And it feels amazing. And not very few things in the business feel better than helping somebody who tried to do something and then it didn't happen. And now it did happen and you saved the day. That's why I still do it. Okay, expired knocking. Not many people are doing that, I'll tell you right now. Now, how would you do that? Maybe pick people that pick expireds only that would be on your drive home, or since we're all working from home now, that would be in your area or neighborhood, and go knock them. Hey, I saw the property come off the market. Now, energy's real, energy's contagious. So when you come with authenticity and you're not worried about what to say because you're asking good questions to find out what's going on with their situation or motivation, they'll respond more often. I get it. You're not going to help everybody. But man, it feels good when you make that connection. You're able to help someone who allowed you in when they're in a situation where they need help. For sale by owner, calls and knocking. I think obviously, again, less people are actually making knocks on for sale by owners. But obviously, that's a big thing. Wear your name badge. How about that? Never been a big name badge wearer, but I'll tell you what, plenty of stories to go around where people are wearing their name badge and someone goes, oh, hey, you're a realtor? There's also this little trick I've seen too, where and some of you guys, I think I've even seen it in our market center, where they wear their name badge upside down. Okay, that's not for everybody. And when someone, what you're doing is you're creating specificity in them paying attention to what you want them to pay attention to, and then possibly creating conversation around it. Are you going to do 50 deals a year off of your name badge? Probably not. But man, even one deal or two deals, what is that for you? $5,000, $10,000? If somebody said to you today, hey, I'll pay you $5,000 to wear that name badge, would you do it? That's new. Okay. Wear your name badge. I like it. Okay. Lead desk phone opportunity. Okay. I'm the cold call cowboy. And yet my very first deal was off a phone opportunity, and I sold that house twice. Oh, by the way, in the expired listing from the lady from before, she's got 2 other properties to sell. So that was 3 transactions off of 1 call. Okay. Lead desk phone opportunity. There's I actually have a script for that. I know a lot of you guys in the Northwest Market Center have my playbook. If you want the playbook, you can email me, therealsalestalk@gmail.com, therealsalestalk@gmail.com, and I'll send you a copy of the playbook, which actually is a combination of a lot of bold scripts and KW scripts. And they've just been tested and proven through a lot of the work that I've done personally, coaching people and working with the team that I had in Vegas and the team here also in Austin. And so they're proven. They don't feel like bullet points of trying to close people. They're very much set up conversationally. And with the phone opportunity, you really need to very quickly, because they're looking for something specific, and you need to be able to find a way to be able to engage them very quickly. And so how do you do that? So I do have a lead desk phone opportunity script for that to be able to help create better conversion around those conversations. Housewarming parties for buyer clients. Again, not for everybody, but here's my challenge on this with some of these forms of lead generation that aren't for you. Figure out which ones for sure are not for you. In your mind, you're going, no, never. I will never do that. And then some of them that you may think about compromising to be able to get uncomfortable, to be able to get to be uncomfortable, and to find ways to get comfortable doing them. I need some water. Start figuring out some of these lead generation models here that you are willing to get uncomfortable with. Because housewarming parties was one for me for sure. I'm like, I don't want to be in a room with everybody. And I'm Mr. Coach and Trainer, right? But this is part of the act that I play to be able to connect with people. But my natural personality type is a little bit more reserved. I'm the guy leaning up against the wall and just looking at people and going, I'm not talking to you. You're very weird. I'm not talking to you. Maybe I'll talk to you. And we can't do that as a realtor, right? We have to get out there and get uncomfortable and create conversations. Housewarming parties is nice because it's one of those it's one of those forms of lead generation that puts everybody in one spot, and you can prospect everybody in one room. Who was the guy we had last year from 7 Levels of Communication? It's a book. If you haven't read it, you need to read it because it's about sphere of influence and repeat and referral business. We had the author there in the Northwest Market Center last year, and his name is escaping me, but 7 levels of communication, one way to be able to put people on one spot and prospect them. He's got really, really good stuff around housewarming parties and being efficient and effective with housewarming parties. Client appreciation parties, same thing. You know, Laura Blessing, she's a top producer in our market center, and I'm not sure if she's on the call, but she provided some pretty cool insight to client appreciation parties. She goes, Paul, you don't have to pay for everything. You don't have to have this big party where you're paying for this and you're paying for that. She goes, tell everybody to meet you up at Chewy's for Margarita Tuesday. Now, I didn't say I was going to pay for Margarita Tuesday. I said, hey, why don't we all meet at Chewy's on Tuesday? Okay. And there's no expectation there. You just said, hey, I'm trying to get everybody together. There's creative ways for you to be able to create client appreciation parties without breaking the bank. And I do believe sincerely, because this was something I absolutely did not do in Las Vegas because I wasn't mature enough in my business venture, and really, in all honesty and transparency, humble enough to like get out there and care about my clients at a higher level. And it cost me money, by the way. That absolutely cost me money. So client appreciation parties, you can get creative on a budget. Client special events. Okay, same thing, something similar, right? Something oriented around a holiday or some sort of special event. Door knocking around property previews. I love this one. No one talks about this. How about they tell you newbies, right? Go out there and preview properties. You guys heard that? You newbies? Right? Well, whether you're knocking or whether you go to a preview or a FSBO or an expired listing, how about when you're out there, instead of just seeing one property, knock 4 or 5 properties around it? Hey, Elizabeth, I'm Paul. I'm with Keller Williams. Hey, so sorry to bother you there. Hey, I was taking a look at this property over here, and man, it's been on the market 45 days. I'm looking to sell that property. Who do you know that might want to move into the neighborhood? Oh, we don't know anybody. Oh, hey, I totally appreciate it. Thanks so much. I didn't mean to be a bother here. And so, hey, by the way, how long have you been in the neighborhood? What should I tell buyers when I bring them through? What's the best part? Why do you like it? Oh, where did you move from? So what would have to happen for you to move? Bang, there it is. Okay. Preview, door knocking around property previews. Now, just FYI, there are some people that have stereotyped the fact that knocking might not be a good idea. And at the onset of the pandemic, that was probably not a good idea, but I've seen people do it effectively and actually get good feedback because we're socially isolated. Anybody feeling it? I am, right? Hugs? What happened to hugs? I'm a hugger, man. Look, our world's changed, and one day things will go back to normal, and some elements, things will remain, you know, a lot of this is going to linger for a very long time, but we were created for relationships. The conversation is the relationships. People want to talk to people. You could respectfully knock on somebody's door and back up. Now, just for me, some people didn't do this, but I certainly did. If it said no soliciting, I wouldn't knock on the door. I'm going to respect that. I'm not trying to bust chops. There's the New Yorker. Okay. So door knocking around property previews, if you're a new agent, man, what great way. Because you hear this all the time. I'm not good on the phone. No kidding. It's called being a human being. We're all better at talking to each other in person. Everybody. Okay, so go out, preview some properties. What happens? You begin to get intimate with the neighborhoods. You begin to more intimately understand the inventory. What do you think that does for your confidence? Okay, and what do you think that does for your ability to have better conversations? Because some of you guys who have been door knocking, you get out there, neighbors start talking, and you can chime in on that. I know, I saw that. The bathroom burnt down because the lady got mad at her husband, whatever. Look, all I'm looking for is a little exchange so I can create conversation, so we can put down this salesperson to prospect energy that's happening and just talk to each other like human beings, so I can understand people, so that I can find out if I can serve them. Okay, the social media 5 by 5 by 5. We talked about that. prospect second homeowners. Okay, I'll tell you, I love this one. I made so much money off of prospecting second homeowners. So more specifically, non-owner occupieds, right? So what I would do is pull a list, and I've done it now. I took a listing a few weeks ago, just doing exactly this. And I would call, I had two-prong approach. I would pick a little pocket and zero in on that pocket and mail them, because mailing 1,000 people or 2,000 people's, unless you have the budget for it, it's usually not a cost-efficient tactic. But certainly you can call them and continue to farm them over the phone, because these people, especially right now, think about what's going on with the economy. Right? Are things possibly going to get worse here based on forbearance, based on eviction stay, based on further economic conditions? Look, I'm not going doom and gloom, but the matter of the fact is, if you don't want to hold on to your property for at least 3 years, I'm telling people, look, I mean, 5 years, if you're thinking about selling the next couple of years, you might want to think about what's happening right now, and the information that I could bring some clarity to that. Why don't I send you that, and then we can talk sometime next week? Does Tuesday at 4 or Wednesday at 6 work better for you? Now, they've given me something to work with, right? But a second homeowners, people who own investment property or second properties, now is a fantastic time to go out there and reach these people. I made a lot of money with this in Las Vegas, and I'm hitting these pretty hard right now. And look, I don't mind sharing, because there's enough nuts for all the squirrels, okay? And most of you won't do this one. That's what's awesome about real estate. There's plenty of opportunity out there, and there's plenty of ways to lead generate. I got to get comfortable with what I'm comfortable with, or get comfortable with getting uncomfortable with. You know what I'm talking about now, right? And start thinking about, what am I for? What am I for? Promote small local businesses. I saw a lot of that when I was in the market center, as people connecting with local businesses and going out there and doing a little video and promoting their business and beginning to create relationships with small businesses. I could imagine that'd be a little bit more difficult right now with what's going on with COVID, but certainly not out of the realm of possibility to explore. Who's doing it? Not many people. Small business owners, they're in a pinch right now, a lot of them, but hey, maybe still an opportunity to be there, to be a reliable resource. God forbid that they do need your service for something that was unforeseen or unintended. Okay. Network CPA and financial planners. You could actually cold call and door knock these people, or maybe get in Facebook groups that have those types of professionals and start networking with them there. Go to HOA association meeting. Love that one. Engage and network at charity events, school sponsorship ads. We're going to speed up here. New home builds. How about creating relationships with new home builders, reps at new home sites? Now, look, this is the same thing. You can't go in there with your hand out looking for a referral or begging for business. That's going to be a relationship builder. What value do you bring to the table? How consistently do you stay in touch? There's opportunities there on new home builds, even with what's going on right now. How specific are you with it, and how intentional are you with it? How organized are you around it? There's absolutely opportunities, especially with all these new, all these little small guys, these little small home builders. You have so many more than we had in Vegas. Lots of opportunity there. Doctors and dentists' offices, the ability to advertise or network there. Specialized attorneys, divorce and probate. That's interesting. And that would definitely take I actually had a script for that once. I don't think it's in the playbook. I'm for sure it's not in the playbook, but I actually have something to where once upon a time I was prospecting attorneys and door knocking attorneys, and then short sales took off, and then I ended up not spending too much time with that. But that could be another element, and maybe it's not as direct as a door knock, because it's really tough to get past the gatekeeper on the attorney. Well, no, that's a limited thought, because there's a lot of attorneys who don't have a gatekeeper. They're just attorneys who are working on their own. There's a lot of them out there. Just like there's a lot of realtors, and people think, oh, realtors, and they drive Mercedes-Benzes. No, they drive not Mercedes-Benzes too. Whew, dodge that bullet. Okay. And so specialize in HUD, specialize in VA, REO, and short sale. Lots of homework to do out there and to keep an eye on based on what's happening with forbearances and the economy. Look, I'm starting to pay attention again to what's going on. Trust me, I don't want to do 20 short sales a month like I did in Las Vegas, because I might not remain sane. But REOs and HUD, and specializing in VA, those are some elements of specialization that if you acquired the knowledge and you figured out how to be more intentional about disseminating a message around your specialization, absolute opportunity. The KW Referral Network platform, how well are you paying attention to that? And what's your touch plan around agents? How about that? National Association events, TAR events, National Sales Training events, Mega Camp, Family Reunion. Guys, I get probably, I'm just back into business now, but I'll tell you, when I was in full swing for conventions, I would get 6 to 10, let's call it 6 to 10, eight referrals a year from networking. 8 referrals a year from out of state. Now I was in Vegas. Vegas, like Austin, to some extent, had a lot of people moving towards us. But you guys are even more diversified because there's more people moving here for more reasons. So attending some of these events and some of these convention things and being intentional about the people you like, not just standing there at the door handing out your card to 2,000 people. Conversations, the relationship with people that you've connected with and people that you now have a touch plan for. Absolutely. Oh goodness, I can't remember the girl from Oklahoma City, Jen Wolek. Melanie knows her, Jen Wolek. I met her at Mega Camp and we were talking. She goes, I had 100 referrals last year. 100 referrals to Oklahoma City, I think, or she's Tulsa. I said, wow, 100 referrals to Oklahoma? That's incredible. How did you do that? And sure enough, she talked about how she was intentional with meeting top producers and establishing relationships with them and creating a touch system around them. And she's been in business a while. It took a while to be able to build up to something like that and for that to occur, but that's pretty amazing. There is opportunity. KWRI training events in Austin. How about that? You guys have home field advantage to take a international training event down by Zilker there at KWRI and meet people from all over the country, all over the world while you're learning. How intentional are you with the conversation? How intentional are you with the connection and touching them? KW regional events, KW staff is so funny. When I first came to Austin, maybe couldn't have been more than 5 agents actually asked to help me when I moved here. Now remember, I didn't know anybody. Okay. And who sold me the house? Because I wasn't licensed at the time. And so I needed a realtor to help me buy a house. And sure enough, the person who established the relationship and followed up on me and asked the question got a $400,000 sale because she asked. Now, don't everybody go to the staff today and ask for referrals, because that's the relationship too, right? Right? You can't just go out there with your hand out begging or bugging. You have to establish the relationship too. And yet there are opportunities. Prospect local businesses for Kelly Local Insights. Hold a seminar, investor, lender, cities, HOA meeting, go to, let's stick on the seminars for a second, investor and lender or city seminars, go to events that are happening for that, city planning meetings, HOA or POA, you guys call them POAs out here, going to those meetings, neighborhood social or organizational meetings, great chance to be the governor of your neighborhood. Are you the governor of your neighborhood? People know who you are. Are you being intentional about the events that are happening? Are you creating events? How integrated are you into the community? Because when you see a for sale sign go up and it's 5 doors down and you grit your teeth, well, you know why that didn't happen. So how are you going to be intentional now this year to be able to be even just moderately, just incrementally taking steps closer to creating relationships in your community? And to become the governor of your neighborhood. I love that. That came from somebody at Mega Camp, I think. Kim Treadaway and I were talking about that. That was so good. Be the governor of your neighborhood. Apartment complex farming, apartment representatives. Yeah. Positive, progressive. Okay, apartment chamber of commerce. Starbucks, country clubs, church, developers, cultural groups, social groups, vendor prospecting. Okay, hold up. Okay, so just pretty much anywhere, anybody, anywhere is a target. Think about this. So Jason Abrams has said this. If you guys have seen any of Jason Abrams' content, I forget. I'm sorry, Jason. His title is Director of Growth, I think. And so I think he got upgraded recently. And so he goes, look, everybody's a lead. Everybody's a lead. They're going to buy, sell, invest, or lease. Everybody's going to do that. Okay, that's in your sphere. And so, or that could be considered for your sphere. So it just matters when are you going to catch them on that curve where they buy and sell 5 years, 7 years. Okay. And how well is your touch system to be able to nurture the relationships that you're warming up? Because people anywhere, you can create a relationship. I've heard, okay, I wouldn't be standing in front of you if I didn't sell a $55,000 short sale to a substitute teacher at a little Christian school, and I made probably $300, who introduced me to her mom, who owned the school. Short sold her mom's house. I was circle prospecting. And then her mom introduced me to her son, who was partners with an investor. Come to, lo and behold, the #1 investor for the most acquisitions down at the courthouse steps, who became my business partners for short sale acquisitions, or else I wouldn't be in the business. I'd probably still be a waiter at the Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas. Okay, so money's everywhere. What's your attitude? What's your energy around having good conversations with people? Because the rapport script, it's in the playbook. It's a core of the circle prospecting script, which is, where are you from? Because you can have a real estate prospecting conversation with anyone, anytime, anywhere, any place. Where are you from? Why did you choose this area? How did you choose? Yeah. Oh, so where are you from? How did you end up choosing this area? How long have you been here? If you could move, where would you go next? Okay, that was a quick, I maybe missed one, but that's the core of a good conversation for anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place. A lot of guys in the market center, you hear me saying those same things when I was team leader, because I didn't really have anything to talk about. So I go, hey, Nicole, where are you from? Oh, Dallas. Oh, what part of Dallas? Well, how'd you end up here down in Austin? So what part of Austin are you in? Oh, so do you like that area? So how'd you end up choosing that area? So if you could move though, where would you want to go next? You could do that with anybody, anywhere, because the barista at Starbucks could have a $2 million sale with her mom. Whatever. You get it? Okay. Vendor prospecting. This is for newbies or not. Creating a vendor list. How about you start calling vendors to create a vendor list? Do you have a vendor list? And nurturing them into your database. There's a script for that in the playbook. Advertising and networking, festivals and grocery stores, the mall. Not huge fans of that. Spend before a green light, red light, right? Don't spend money until you make money. Teach a class at the market center. Kind of like I'm doing right now. Hey, agent to agent referrals happens, right? Agents are giving other agents in the market center referrals. False or true? Do this. Okay. All right, so special designations out of city, okay? A little bit of what we touched upon before with going to conventions and networking outside of your bubble here in Austin. KW-related Facebook groups. The Facebook groups are just a great place, regardless of what type of Facebook group it is, but I'd highly recommend getting involved with Facebook groups that pertain to you and that are not real estate based. Let me backtrack that a little bit. There are, you can be part of national Facebook groups that would help get referrals. The point is that how consistent are you going to be creating conversations there and engaging conversations? Same thing as in person, but being intentional about creating those conversations and consistently being engaged in those conversations on Facebook. Billboards, okay, that's the way. Website IDX prepped with info capture. So there's lots of things that you can do online with online lead gen. LinkedIn networking. That's a thing for referrals too, and just for business, networking people. How intentional is your strategy around networking on a social media platform? LinkedIn business to business. Offer buy-up, first-time incentives for buyers. Okay, so creating incentives for buyers and marketing around that. Lease out buy-up programs for tenants. Again, something for marketing. And then a whole mess of things here around marketing and advertising, targeting on Facebook and YouTube, Google AdWords, Zillow, Realtor.com, all internet-based advertising. Then there's the good old geographic farming. Cliff note on geographic farming. Look, I mean, to start off, maybe 500. And do it in an area that's close to you or relatively close to you, and don't make that too big, because you really need to farm them. I mean, once a month at least. There was the whole 8x8 program that some of you guys have learned within Keller Williams is understanding that repetition is what matters, and that if I'm going to geographically farm people, you can't try it out for 30 days or 90 days. You got to be committed to it. So if you're going to geographically farm, then you got to commit to that into your budget, which is why your sphere should be your initial farm, and you should spend the time and the energy and the money with your farming your sphere. And then once that system is complete and it's finally tuned and running well, then finding another geographic farm to move to, if that's what you want to do, to be able to ensure that you can commit a budget to that, because it has to be a fixed budget, and you look away and you let it do its thing, because it's going to be 9 to 12 months to be able to start seeing returns from that. Dish. Okay. All right, all different kinds of stuff here. Craigslist, car wrap, that's cool. Call capture line on your yard. You got call capture stuff happening on your for sale signs. Care packages to buyers. Hire an inside sales agent, someone making circle prospecting calls for you or calls for you. Inbound internet lead calls. Some of you bigger teams are having inside sales agents field internet lead calls. You can do that really effectively and efficiently, actually, with what's happening with online VAs. Lots of stuff happening there. Client testimonials, online and videos, catchy email signature, explore popular forums, click funnels. And the bonus is continuous learning and research. I know I packed a lot into a little time, but hopefully this was meant to catch a little fire on what's going on with new ideas, or maybe spur additional ideas off of some of the things you may have been conceptualizing, with understanding, okay, what's my 4? What are the 4 things that I'm focused on? Email for the playbook is therealsalestalk@gmail.com. therealsalestalk@gmail.com for the playbook. Okay, continuous learning and research. I'm gonna rip quickly through because we had some time eaten up here on the GPS, and I wanted to share with you guys the and I'm gonna go through this super quickly, is how you might be able to plug in lead generation models into a format that gives you clarity. And so the GPS plan, can you guys see the GPS? Do this if you can see it. Okay, perfect. So your GPS is one big goal, priorities and strategies. So this, I'm going to make this super simple for those of you guys who are newer to the business, but super simple for some of you guys who haven't done this in a while, maybe, which is your priority. You can easily have 2 priorities: people I know, people I don't know. Amazing. It's the only 2 places to get business: people I know and people I don't know. So for people I know, what are your strategies that support your priority? Okay, creating the database, contacting them and collecting email and phone number information, mailing them thank you cards, setting them up on the touch system, creating a conversation around each of those touches. People that I don't know, open houses, for sale by owners, preferred vendor list, prospecting them. We talked about that. Small business prospecting. I still like that one a lot. Phone duty. Okay, all strategies to support the priority. And then the third priority here, which is important to me for new agents, with what's your growth plan? Because you can have the perfect playbook, but if your heart isn't in alignment with, if your psychology isn't in alignment with your physiology, the belief's going to cancel itself out. Okay, so how are you nourishing your mindset with strategies that are helping you develop yourself and to have a good mindset, to be tough, to persevere? Because here's what's going to happen: it takes a lot of effort or a lot of money to create this much opportunity. Now the good news is this much opportunity can equal this much income. And that's the real big takeaway, guys, that lead generation, my ability to master repetitious boredom, because it's boring and it cannot be fun. Now I can make it fun. There's ways for me to be able to make an open house more fun, to make circle prospecting more fun, but that takes a high level of intention. And so what are the things that you're doing, that you're pouring into yourself so that you can more effectively and efficiently run the plays? Because we know this. This is simple. It's not easy. There's a reason why we keep going back to those bold laws, is because they're just gold. This is simple. A lot of you guys already know this stuff, but why don't you do it? Well, could be this. Could be I haven't surrounded myself with the right support, a coach, an accountability partner, a tribe, right? To be able to enforce and encourage these plays. And I got to run the plays. Super important for setting a GPS. Let me see here. I don't know how to mute everybody. Okay. 411, and then I'm done. Oh my gosh, I might actually make it on time. Okay, so your GPS gives you clarity around your priorities that are going to support your support your goal, and strategies that support each of those priorities. The thing is with your GPS though, is you can't do all those lead generation models at once, or everything within your business map, because that's what your GPS is. It's your business map. Your goal, your business plan is, I want to do $300,000 in net income with 100% of that business coming from sellers, and that means $13 million sold in volume. And it's going to take me 40 homes. And that means at the end of the day, when I've filled out my economic model worksheet, I have to do 1.1 presentations per week. That's my plan. My map is, how am I going to get there? That's the GPS. Now I can't do all that at once. So that's my clarity, is my GPS. My focus is the 411, reminding myself of my goal, creating a monthly goal. And then creating maybe this is overdone here. I would create 3 or 4 things here. 3 or 4 things that you're going to focus on a weekly basis. There's a bunch here, but I would really say 3 or 4 things. And I'm going to challenge you, and this is very, very important, is who do you hold this accountable with? And how smart are your goals? If there's anything that you take away, make sure you take this away today. Create smart goals. Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time sensitive. Okay? Specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time sensitive. If you can hold your goals to those standards, now, how do I hold them to those standards? Well, you're not going to hold it there by yourself, because you would already did it. And for those of you who are just entering, you're wiggly, you're squirmy, you're gonna have excuses. Yeah. So your team leader, your productivity coach, accountability partners, because this is all simple. And I'm going to focus. The 411 is my focus. Okay. For me to be able to get to my goals, because you guys, 2021 is going to be a huge opportunity. I know, because I lived through it, when the market crashes and people are burning and running around with their hair on fire, because there will be less realtors this year, this time next year. I believe that. There will be. Okay. What does that mean? Opportunity. I get it. Some things may not be as good, but we're in Austin. Things are going to be, I think, okay. And that's going to mean opportunity for you guys. You are in the right time. You're in the right place. You have the right tools. You have the right relationships. Now, all you have to do is go out there and create more relationships and be intentional about it. And what you want in 2021, the money that you want to make, all you have to be willing to do is what others won't do, which is get a little organized, take action, rinse, repeat. All right. Questions, comments, concerns, delusions. It's been an honor.
Paul, do you use command for all your touches?
For my database touches, yes.
Okay, so you enter all your contacts and you set them up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for database, yes. I'm doing a lot of marketing too. So there's other things that I use for marketing as well. So unfortunately, I have more than one database.
I think that's a good thing, right?
It's a good thing. Yeah. Here's your first, you don't have any problems, by the way, until you have a lead problem.
Mhm.
You don't have problems. All that other stuff is distraction and excuse. You don't have a problem until you have a lead problem. When you have a lead problem, that's when you have a real problem, because that means you're starting to create a business.
Mhm.
Okay. I want to create a business so that, look, guys, remember, I've only been Keller Williams 4 years. Okay. I've been in business 18 years, only 4 of it with Keller Williams. The reason why I came here is all of this stuff like businesses worth owning. That's profitability. For lives worth living. I don't want to be married to my business. I already have a wife. And she don't like it when I spend more time with my business than her. Just ask her. Love you, honey. Yeah.
It's just not enough time.
Yeah. Well, see, now look, that's a mind shift right there.
True.
Because, Ellen, how is there enough time for the woman who does 10 deals a month? You know, there is. We all have the same 24 hours. Now, what we do with it, because time management, and I don't really care. That's a little bit of a stigma, that term, but time management is really the key. What are you doing with your time? Because here's what's happening with your guys' time. It's bleeding. Your time's bleeding from one block into the other. You're supposed to be doing this, but you're doing that.
Right.
Why is that happening? Because you're squirmy. Because if you had to punch into the clock and I was your boss and I went, hey, Donatello, what are you doing? How come you're not doing your job? You get your butt busy to start doing your job. The thing is that you're self-employed. You're self-employed. You're an independent contractor, and you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's a problem for all of us.
True.
Okay, it's a problem. It's okay. Reframe. It's an opportunity. Right?
I'm
Hey,
glad you're here, Paul.
words matter.
I love you.
Words matter. Words matter.
Yes.
This is a great session. I had a question about that list that you generated, like prospecting, second homeowners and all of that. Where can you find the scripts that kind of match up? So let's say we want to do 1 or 2 of the approaches, focus on those.
So you email me the Real Sales Talk, and I have a full playbook I'll send you on every script that you can think of and not think of.
Okay. The governor of your neighborhood too?
Yeah. Well, the governor of your neighborhood that's circle prospecting. That's there's a rapport script in there. So yeah, there's a rapport. I've never even seen a rapport script. So I made a rapport script, which is just what I did when I was saying, hey, where are you from? How long you been here? How'd you choose the area? Same thing. You can have that rapport. That's a rapport script that you can use anywhere. So yes, there are scripts in there that are conversational and casual based on not being involved in direct lead gen.
Okay. Great.
Mhm. Yep. Okay, we're tying up here. Wow, I can't believe I made it. Like, whew. I sped up a little bit towards the last quarter there. Sorry, guys. But I know I want to respect your time, and I have a schedule also that I'm outside of now. And any other questions, comments, concerns? Now's your chance. No question too small. No question too small. Cool. All right. Hey, you guys, have a great day. Go bring the
Thank
love.
you.
Go bring the love. Go bring the light. Connect with people. We'll see you around the market center.